closed down and taken over by the FDIC. And so we need to be cognizant of these aren't accidents that are happening, right? The 1907 crash was truly orchestrated by Rothschild Group and the Bank of England to basically manipulate the market and crash the market. And so what we're seeing now is we're seeing these banks, last night, there was like 5 or 6 banks. PacWest was down 50%. First Republic is down. All these regional banks, that's what they do first, is they take out the regional banks. And they get scooped up by JP Morgan Chase is what we're seeing, even though they shouldn't, because technically speaking and legally speaking, JP Morgan Chase should be able to acquire more. They're already stated position of 10% of the U.S. banking sector, but they're being allowed to do it anyways. And so I think what's next, it sounds very eerily reminiscent of 1907. I think what's next is the whole digital currency, government digital currency, and I think this is a repeat of what we saw in 1907. And I think the new Federal Reserve is going to be a government digital currency, basically.
I thought it had something to do, I could be wrong, with like the 13th Amendment and basically like what a lot of people think has to do with like the abolition of slavery, actually like redefined what a person was, and somehow, some way they were allowed to make corporations into people. Let me check on that though. So just for a moment, Logan, we'll research it.
George Washington, where it was the United States under Congress, and then right around the same time, branching over into kind of infiltrating different parts of the government sector, then switched over to the United States of America and George Washington. So I actually have a complaint, which was like the first penny ever mentioned from the first series, and it's got it's Benjamin Franklin on it, and it's penny of the United States or Congress, and it's called a figure set, which was named after the designer. But it says on one side, it says "We are one," and then on the other side, it says "Mind your business."
The answer to the question about when the United States was made a corporation, so it was after the Civil War, 1871. Just for a moment, I'll read you what it says about that. And then also, very interesting that, yes, there were presidents essentially before George Washington, and I believe some of them have, civil the District of Columbia Organic Act of 1871 is essentially the thing that allowed Congress to um, uh, redefine what a corporation was, and it implied that the District of Columbia turned the federal government into an incorporated entity. Though there's some debate as to whether that's true or not. I think it goes back to one of those amendments after the Civil War, the 13th Amendment that did that, 1871.
So yeah, the first president of the United States was Commerce John Hanson in 1781. And so, yeah, I mean, that's interesting to take a look at that, right? Like, there was this switchover where, yeah, that is a point that I have is just really awesome because, the first penny before the United States of America, and it was designed by, and Benjamin Franklin. It's interesting how it says, mind your business on one side of this penny, it's totally just, it says a lot right there in that statement. So I feel like it's that thing, we're talking about when they kind of turned the like corporation, says, back in 1871, Congress formed a corporation known as the United States. This corporation, voted by foreign interns, showed the organic version of the Constitution aside by changing the word for to in the title. So, including the original Constitution drafted by the founding fathers, read the Constitution for the United States of America. Note that neither the words United nor States began with capital letters, but the Constitution of the United States of America, which is all in caps, is a corporate constitution, which is absolutely not the same document in units. First of all, it ended all our rights and sovereignty, so you now have how the international bankers got their hands on the United States of America as an instrument of the international bankers. The United States owns you by the pockets. If you don't believe it, read the 14th Amendment. See how free you really are. Ignorance of the facts led to your silence is construed as consent. As a sovereign people, we have been deceived for hundreds of years. We think we are free, but we are still running this corporation. It goes up good. But yeah, I don't know. Again, if that's true, so don't know the word for it.
It's consistent with what I know. Did anyone ever watch the 8-hour class on law by Michael Bernardnik? It's online. It's one of the most fascinating documentaries I've ever seen. In fact, I think I'm gonna watch it tonight. So essentially, Michael Bernardnik, from what I know, is an attorney. He ran for president, and he gave a class basically on your rights, and he teaches you about all these things, like exactly what you're saying, Logan. Like the fact that, if your name is like for instance, many times bills are on red pieces of paper, and like why is it red? Essentially, like why do you get the pink copy when it comes to something? Essentially, it goes back to like this admiralty law and the keys to admiralty law. There are also like some things that he teaches you. There's something called a like a certificate of manufacturing or something like that. I don't know the exact word, but basically, like you can go to a car manufacturer and buy a car certificate with it. You don't have to get you don't have to title it, and it doesn't need a license plate, and this is defendable. Though, I mean, if you do that, you're going to get pulled over, and it's going to be a huge pain in the ass. But basically, like he just teaches you about all these little laws that you don't know, especially like when it comes to your name on legal documents. Like no one's parents generally name them in all caps. So basically, like when you get a bill, it's in all capital letters, or like if you're sued or something, it's in all capital letters. There's an argument to be made that that's not who you are, that's not your name, though that's been thrown out as well. Has anyone seen or even heard of this documentary or this class of Michael Bednarnik? If you haven't, his name is Michael, Michael, last name it's like Bed Bednarnik, Narnick, something like that. It's fascinating. All the laws that you don't know and that are really important to know. Has anybody heard of this?
Yeah, I heard about it in a it was in one of those like you know that channel like Anonymous. Actually, maybe it wasn't that channel. It was some kind of channel like YouTube video with exactly what you're saying, like what the what's like the judicial system set up the way it is, and what they say these specific phrases and whatever. It's all about giving your consent to be on his pretty much is what it comes down to.
Exactly. It's fascinating. Like the idea of a bar in court, like so normally people just think of it like, oh, you got the California bar, the New York bar, but that's actually like British. Um, there's a name for it. Just one moment, blanking on it. British accreditation registry, and essentially, like it shows that you are approved not by the United States, but by the Crown to be able to practice law in the United States. And like then I've talked to lawyers about this. They have no idea about it, and they're like, no, it's just like through the normal bar association, but they don't know that perhaps stands for something. There are all kinds of laws essentially that have been manipulated to give us our what we have currently. But one of the things that if you read the Constitution, I know not everyone here is American, and honestly, it's unfortunate that that if your country doesn't have some of the things that at least our founding fathers or founding mothers as well enacted and died for. And the biggest one is that we, at least the Bill of Rights, we are endowed to those rights by our Creator. They're not given to us by the government. They're by our Creator, whatever that is. So essentially, like, there's an argument to be made just in something like, for instance, if somebody wanted to take away your right to bear arms or your right to assemble or your right to free speech, they're not even allowed to. I mean, there's like the government could make 100 different laws against, let's just say, just as an example, against uh, freedom of the press. They could make 100 laws on it, but really, that doesn't. You can't take those away according to uh, the uh, the the intentions of the founders of this country. I just think that's very interesting that they're endowed to us by our Creator, not our government, and essentially you can't take those away from us. So it's not something like a lot of times I think the governments treat our rights like privileges, like, oh, it's a privilege to be able to have free speech, and it's a privilege to have freedom of religion. No, it's not like driving that's a privilege supposedly. It's a right endowed by God or our Creator. You can't take those away from us. And Congress cannot issue laws against those. uh, it seems like a lot of times people have forgotten that was the true intentions, and it doesn't hold up. That's really the sad part about it. um, if you are arrested, let's just say, for vocalizing your opinion and showing free speech, you're going to go to jail. And at the end of the day, these judges don't care about what the actual law is. They care about keeping their seats and essentially not causing any waves. And so it's just like generation after generation of jurisprudence that has created a system where I would say, at least in America, people just do what they're told. But in reality, you don't have to. There's definitely arguments to be made that we are endowed these rights from our Creator, and you can't take them away. And thus, any type of restriction against it by Congress is illegal. I don't think they do. I think honestly, from the people I've heard here, they're in agreement. And if you're not, please speak up. We'd love to talk to you about it. But essentially, it seemed like honest, uh, caring individuals who love liberty as much as the rest of us. Well, it's on a different subject. I don't know if anybody here uses TikTok, but I've heard the like basically it's like a psyop essentially. Um, of course by China and that, but uh, there's something interesting that I find about the app. I don't know if anyone else uses it, but well, firstly, the name is TikTok because it's supposed to be essentially. You remember when people would hypnotize others with like a locket, and it would be like a pendulum, tick tock. It's essentially that's why it has that name. But the colors that they use this color cyan and this magenta. That basically, like in actuality, the human eye can't determine two of those colors. One of them's called like magic magenta. You can look at it. If you put in magic magenta in Google, you'll find out like there are some colors that the human eye cannot discern, and those are two of them. And when I use it, it has like an overlay that I can like somewhat like uh, I can somewhat sense that there's almost like it's trying to hypnotize me. Does anyone else ever get this feeling when they use TikTok? Yeah, of course I'm a proud American. Why? I use every social media application that's out there to get out the word. It's no different than what Zuckerberg does with Instagram. You could, babe. Something with Snapchat that was a government psyop. At least Snap Inc. is in Venice, California. Here, they own like most of half of that little city, and it was just basically created to get facial recognition and facial data off of people. That's particularly children. It's really unfortunate that that's kind of why it was founded. It seems like these apps, at least from what I find, they get all the data that they want, and then they don't do any updates, and they don't create new features, and they kind of just forget about it, and then you move on to the next app. But I don't know if anybody else feels that way, but at least like Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, they haven't changed really much in the last 10 years.
these are all AI training models. So we're basically, we're training the AI.
I'm in agreement with you. And so basically, they've got it exactly where they want. Well, at least one thing I would think that they have at least more consistent is the fact I think that their apps crash a lot. In my opinion, an app should not crash. I know that that sounds crazy, but I mean, I've launched apps on iOS and on the App Store and Google Play. And if you build an app correctly, at least the app aspect of it should not crash. I can understand the operating system having issues, but it just seems like for these companies to have these incredibly large valuations, and if you use Twitter 100 times, it'll crash 5 of them over the course of several hours, or you'll have issues with them. To me, to patch up those little issues would be very important for a company. It just seems like they don't care at all.
Because evaluations aren't, they're not dependent on the usability and awesomeness of the app, right? They're all dependent on basically all the data and all the information to train these AI models that are funded by, and so it's all within the data itself, right? So, like, when you jump off of Twitter Spaces and you go on Snapchat or Instagram or TikTok or the search engines, all the nerd and, customer unique fingerprint follows you all over the place. So that's why, like, and it listens on you too. I mean, how many of you, like, have been, like, sitting at home, using your phones, I'll give you an example. Just making something up. Say, like, you're sitting with your buddy in the living room, your phone's in the kitchen or something. You're talking to your buddy, like, bro, I got these fucking androids playing, right? And then, like, the next day, you're on your phone, and a fucking ad pops up to fucking hemorrhoid cream. Okay? That's because it's ingesting the audio, and the data, and it's displaying that ad. And, people go, oh, that's intrusive. But the funny thing is that when we use all these apps, we're literally giving our express permission for all these companies and products to use our data however they see fit.
I'm in agreement with you. One of the things that I really think where this country, at least the United States, failed is the contractor system. Essentially, I don't know, 100 years ago, you didn't really have the same kind of contractor system that you have today. But today, you can have, I just know for a fact, Amazon and Alexa. Amazon says that it doesn't allow for its own employees to listen in on your conversations, and that's fine. All they do is hire a contracting company to do it and transcribe everything and then allow their own employees to be able to read through that data. System, I feel, is where, and this happened after World War II essentially, but that's where a lot of loopholes came in. I think you get a lot of it too in today's day and age when it comes to employees or like the employee system. Like you've got Uber and Lyft, and there's a loophole there where they're not employees, so they're contractors, so that they don't need health care and all these other things. And when it comes, like I had this employee of someone who I hired at another organization, and I asked them about their previous job, and they said that they were a contractor, and they couldn't tell me exactly the company, but I knew exactly which one. It was Amazon, and they were bilingual. And essentially, what they were paid to do is listen in live on people's Alexa, not even when they say, "Hey Alexa," blah 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 blah. Just listen in while that thing has an open mic on you, and they were quote unquote testing it to make sure that it was working correctly. But essentially, they're eavesdropping on you. And when people say, "Oh, well, that means Facebook and Alexa, or Facebook and Amazon and these major companies, they are eavesdropping on me," that's illegal. It is, but they get around it by just having a contractor do it. I really think it's unfortunate. We do it in war as well, where basically we have paid mercenaries who go out and kill people, and they don't have to follow the Geneva Convention and many other things that we have. Does anyone have any thoughts on these major tech companies and their relationship with contractors? It's a good point. Guy, go ahead.
Many years ago, when employees, they were basically calling the bus headquarters, they were calling the mini school works. They were producing lots of different stuff, especially companies material that they use on the trans habitats, and nobody else still knows what it's actually made of. But apparently they were producing many of the things in microgravity, because producing things in microgravity creates a different atmosphere. Some say different elements on the periodic table. People are using this technique, the periodic table, maybe a lot smaller than ours, but they did have a lot more in the actual traveling in space. You know what I mean? What they say is until we are actually producing things in microgravity, we are limited to our actual atmosphere, what we can create in that. So the production of things in microgravity is ongoing. There is an underground base in the UK where they're actually testing material. What they're doing is they're shooting something down what is it called, a magnetic rail thing. It goes about 400 miles an hour, and they fire ball and balls at it, and frozen chickens and stuff to see if it will withstand the impact from things in midair. And this has been going on for quite a few years. I think it's Lamborghini, Boeing, and Lockheed who are working on it. But I've just posted a couple of things in the next. One's a popular mechanics from 1991, which is basically it's a special edition, and it covers the TR3B in depth. That's 1991, and that's 30 years ago. And with the tech companies, are owned by the hedge funds, which are inside trading with all the people in Congress. As I said before, the semiconductor, which is the I posted a thing from my post out as well, is the ARM phonetics semiconductor, which is supposed to be going to be used for optogenics, and basically be able to control some parts of your brain with different light frequencies. So forth, and you've got to think with the introduction of virtual reality, this could be a very easy way to actually implement or put ideas and inception into somebody's brain. So we do have to be very careful when we're actually putting ourselves into and letting ourselves go, because if you experience something that's going to give you pleasure and release serotonin and dopamine, it's basically like a drug, and it'll become addictive. And I think this is a way to capture humanity. You know what I mean? It's not about off topic, but yeah, I've posted a few things in the news before I go. So I checked out the comments anyway in the next as well. Pretty cool stuff. There's one called Beyond Transport 2000, done by NASA, and it covers some great stuff. It does well worth a read. It's been a great chat tonight as well.
I agree. I've been fascinated with the TR3B, I don't know, for quite some time. And it's amazing to me that technology, like you said, 1991, that we have basically anti-gravity technology. And it's been almost 30 years, and we still don't have this. It's been more than 30 years. And we still, if you say to any American or really anybody in the world, do you know what the TR3B is? 0.001% of people will know something about it, and of that they won't believe it. I mean, and it's like, what do you think we've been working on since stealth? Essentially, I don't understand why people don't talk about TR3B more often.
Spaces, privacy policy, and what they actually fucking collect from us LeBron spaces. It is the first time I read it just about 5 minutes ago, and I mean, it's fucking crazy, man. You know, I mean, I want to guess that it was built like this, but I mean, it's fucking wild. You know, basically, in a nutshell, you know, every word that we say, you know, everybody we interact with on spaces, what we talk about, we discuss, you know, it's all collected. And what's interesting about the Twitter privacy policy that I was reading is that apparently all of anything that you ever write to anybody in a direct message on Twitter is collected and ingested into their system, which is just fucking wild, right? So, anytime a capture thing comes up and it says just to check if you are a robot, anytime you click that, it basically gives that well, you're giving that an open permission to scan your entire browsing history, collect all the data, and that's where it gets the personalized ads, and also checks that you're not a robot when it gathers up all your personal data, even your passwords and so forth, and all the saved in your history. So there's no safety on the net. So unless you're not worried about it, then you have something to worry about, and you should make sure. And then they are very illegal to do it, but VPN cascading and bouncing off one VPN to another is illegal. It is illegal. People do it. VPNs, they say they are safe, but they are not safe. They're just a mask of safety, if you know what I mean. So, just let you know.
You're right. The thing that really gets people is the advertising ID. So essentially, if you're not familiar, but there's an advertising ID that's connected to every person, and you can reset that. But all that does is just tell the computer that this person reset it at XYZ time, and it's still connected to you. So basically, companies are just building entire profiles on you based around quote unquote advertising, but and they say, you know, that's for your own good so that you get targeted ads and things like that. But in reality, you know, it's just basically your portfolio of everything that your likes, your dislikes, and every conversation that you've ever had. If you ever want to fear any number in your life, in my opinion, it's your advertising ID.
Yeah, indeed. That's what I was saying. I've got to say, something called Project Orion. It was a parent file translated by from the KGB when the Soviet Union broke up. It is absolutely, it is very, very, very weird. If you want a bit of a it's brilliant. It's basically goes on about the escape from Germany, how he went to Argentina and then to Antarctica through the volcanic tubes underneath Antarctica. It's a crazy read. So I recommend anybody who's having a bit of talk about actually have a gander at that because you'll just get encapsulated in it.
I love that story. There are actually pictures of Hitler with some Brazilian woman, allegedly. I don't know if anybody's ever seen them, but there's some weird places in Argentina that are in completely German villages. I mean, it was a German colony, but essentially, I've seen some documentaries. Okay, if you think he died in the bunker in Germany in World War II, that's cool, and I think that that could have happened. But I also think that it's very easily the same that he could have taken a U-boat to Antarctica or Argentina, especially when there are people in Argentina who are like, yeah, I was there. I saw this motherfucker walk out of the sub and then like into a car and then basically or like yeah, I knew people who were his servants in Argentina or and they have all these German houses that are straight out of Germany. Um, that are in South America. It's incredible. There's a famous picture of him though. I'll get it and I'll put it in the chat of Hitler with the well, quote unquote Hitler. I don't know who this guy is, but it looks like him. I mean, it looks like him, like an older version without a mustache. And this Brazilian woman with whom he was in love, or basically fuck buddies for some time. I don't know if anybody's familiar with Hitler's time in Argentina, but it's really really fascinating. I'm in agreement with you there. I posted to the jumbotron that picture of Hitler and his lover. It's a Getty image. I don't know if that gives it any more credibility, but essentially, it would. Well, I've also heard this theory too. Has anyone heard this theory that Angela Merkel is Hitler's daughter? There's a theory that that's true. They have a lot of facial similarities. I can tell you that. But essentially, Hitler had children, and they moved to the United States after the war, but no one knows where they are or who they are. And to me, that's very interesting. That I mean, they changed their names, and so they basically anonymized themselves. There's also the idea that Hitler lived to be 95 years old and died in South America, and then also that he's a Rothschild, that his father was Alois Rothschild, and Alois's mother was raped by or like impregnated by a Rothschild in Austria, like 3 generations before. And so essentially, it's that idea that Rothschild's kind of in controlling the world and putting their puppets, or our puppets, I guess, but I don't like to connect myself with some of the crueler aspects of the family in certain positions of power. Uh, that that was one way that they did it, and so Angela Merkel would just be another tie to that. I don't know if anybody's familiar with idea that Hitler's a Rothschild, but it's certainly one of those things that you'll find in kind of some pseudo history lore. I personally I like that. I always want to know the other side. What are the other ideas? I don't ever believe it essentially went down the way that I'm told, and if it did, so to speak, then it did. But I always want to know, well, what's the other side? I think a lot of people here do, and have are always questioning. I think that that's healthy, and I don't know, in today's society, many times people don't see that as a healthy discussion. I think it's a healthy discussion to have. I see we have a hand raised. Go ahead.
Actually, Hitler was a member of a thought society, and the thought society was actually set up by some Ashkenazi Jews. So he has a direct connection. Societies like, underground thing where they're essentially fermented Hitler's revolution and the demise, most famously, the rise of National Socialism. Yeah, there's definitely that connection there with the Jews and Ashkenazi Jews, I should say. What do you think? Like, what if Hitler escaped into the inner earth, into America, and basically domestic shape? And that's one of the reasons that one would think that we have this crazy Antarctic tyranny. There's kind of a front to hide what really happened there. Well, then I condemn that, and I condemn Hitler, and I condemn anybody associated with an evil person. We are not Nazis. We don't support Nazism in this space.
I'll jump in here. As someone who had 271,000 people who I have some relationship to after doing research in my family who were killed during the Holocaust, there is not one piece of paper that Hitler that has ever been found where Hitler actually authorizes the extermination of Jews. Additionally, I just think that's fascinating. That I would think that there would be something, some kind of declaration, but in reality, that's not the truth. That seems to have been done by his minions, so to speak. I'm not saying that he didn't hate Jews and all the other things too, but I'm just saying I would think that there'd be some kind of legislation that was passed on that, and there absolutely isn't. Not to my knowledge, and I've researched it as well as anybody has. Anybody know anything more about that?
You're like the most open-minded Jew I've ever met in my life.
I am. I definitely am.
Well, you know about the history of it, colony, Nazi criminals tried by America. I think they believe he was, Poland was his orders. America tried to Nazis for crimes. Pretty sure it's the truth. The thing is they took the technology meat rockets and destroy whoever wanted. They took that technology and then used it to destroy Japan. It was a country who was on the verge of surrender. They had no army left, but they were a proud nation. I think after the Battle of Iwo Jima, I think the general went twisted how much gold where when he went onto the battlefield and took his own life because they wouldn't surrender. And then the went to drop another bomb after they dropped on the massacre on civilians. I don't care what anyone says. Thanks for the show. I love you all, but the CJ hour mark exactly, so we gotta close it now, or else that hour's me up. Can I play out in June? Yeah, let's read it. Yeah, this looks like a real enchantment. Sorry. Gosh, you guys think it's like we brought all these Nazi scientists over and put them into NASA to help us build rockets. Cool stuff. Can I play out in June, Logan?
Here's some of the other shows that we're following in the KFI 24-hour newsroom. 21st and LA County plan to reopen those for 3 so much more. I live in California because I prefer the weather of California. It's raining far more than I think anyone is accustomed to if you actually have lived in California for any amount of time. We've seen snow this year. We've seen high winds.
You're like the most open-minded.
Later tonight at the mall. Is it raining tonight? It's not right now, but there is a 20% chance of showers tonight to tomorrow. Okay, what is my
Oh, we got Sally Fresh. Yeah. You are like the most open-minded Jew I've ever. Where'd my hand go? Nice queef.
Largely because I prefer to live here and the weather it affords. Meaning I'm not dealing with the inclement weather of snow and low temperatures, freezing temperatures. I'm not dealing with hurricane season or even hurricanes in general. I'm not dealing with tornadoes, or at least heretofore we haven't had to deal with tornadoes. Now, it's not an unknown or unseen phenomenon to have a tornado in California, but we have two in LA in the course of maybe a month or so. That's going to raise an eyebrow. And you know,
Trying to find
it does suggest to me that something.
All right, Doc.
LA County Fire Department
I gotta
responded to a call of a tree that had toppled over.
Fortnite. There's with Fortnite.
Oh, shit. We have some trees toppled to the winds in front of iHeartMedia. Posted the videos.
Oh, Minecraft, you need that shit thing.
So trees toppling is not a big deal.
That's the best compliment I've had.
LA County Fire
You're like
Department arrived.
the most open-minded. You hear that, Jews? They're gonna be like, yeah, well, nobody talking about Hitler in a good way. I'm not saying what he did was good. I'm just saying that there's no fucking document to it, to my knowledge. If you can find it, I'd love to read it. I'm saying like I want to hate him more than anybody, but I don't know where the evidence is. Does he suck dick? I mean, I don't. I think that he. You don't hate Hitler more than anybody on earth? Look, dude, I was in shul more consistently than the fucking rabbi for years, and we never discussed Hitler or the Holocaust once. Why? Well, let's just say there are 271,000 people to whom I'm directly related who died during the Holocaust, and those motherfuckers fucked up one way or another. Anybody who fucking survived the Holocaust, like where our family fucking spent the Holocaust? Fucking Los Angeles, like any good Jew. Anyway, are you done? Really? So my grandma was. But are you done? Oh, that is a nice compliment. You were like the most open-minded Jew I ever met. I agree. I'm one of the most open-minded motherfuckers of all time. And let's say there was a fucking document where Hitler did it, I'd be like, oh, that motherfucking thing was forged. Really? I'm just gonna. My mother would say he just likes to argue. So whatever you say, he's gonna be like, fuck the Constitution. You weren't given that shit by your creator. I brought you into this world. I could take you out of it. Okay, dog. Hey, Valor. All this shit sucks. Genshin Impact. Hey, let's have the worst name for a fucking game ever. Oh, Genshin Impact. What does that even mean? Gosh. There she go. Genshin Impact took all the enemy studies. Really cool. Oh, yeah, there's DJE Radiant Station. I'm sure it's going to be like, oh, yeah, you can't join this. We're a bunch of douches. Oh, dog. Dog. I hate doing those things. Like, why doesn't OBS have one? I would think they'd be like, oh, yeah, dude, I'll fucking stupid asses. You know, I fucked up by saying hi, everyone, in Wall Street Bets. They just kicked me out for that. Why? I don't know. It makes me wonder, like, why? Because I said hello, everyone? Yo, dog. I hope when this gets big, people are nicer to other people and give them a chance. You're going to see it. People are such assholes. Yo, dog, this one won't let me in. I think it's bullshit that, like, oh, they block you from multiple ones, even if you've never. I've never been in this fucking group, and yet I always get banned because I always get banned from this one. What? Look. What the fuck is that? Some fucking cat? And it says 43,000 people are online. It shouldn't say that. It should say no one is in this fucking server right now. Stupid ass fucking you need to get some sleep. You're crabby. Subway? The fuck is this shit? I just want, that's all I want is fucking voice channels. And it shouldn't even be called that. It should be called video channels, you fucks. Or there should be voice and video, or I don't know. There's not, it's more to it than voice. Ooh, party of 50. Alright. No mini money. There's no mini money. Like, don't worry, Yosh. I won't be fucking mini money. No mini money. Ooh. Oh, okay, King of YouTube. Oh, you can't fucking show your screen? Oh, this is bullshit. Oh, this sucks. This sucks. Yosh. Hey. Yeah. Like, dude, this sucks. I know. Hey, bro. Definitely not. I know what's going on. Yoshi. I just think it's hilarious. Johnny Cochran's got a middle school named after him. Cochran's going to be huge. Are you done? You said I'm not. Let's go. Just oh, help this person send their brother to someone to be buried. That's what they said. This motherfucker has people who care about him. That's what fuck this kid. You're like, yeah. What if you died right now? Yeah, well, dude, my father always said to do stick him in a garbage bag. Throw him out by the curb. How do you even do that? Is that legal? Is it legal to just throw someone out in the garbage? I don't know, but I'm gonna find out pretty soon. Is it there? I don't know what to do with my body if I die. I won't die in here. I'll die out by the curb. Oh Christ! I am self. Beatles request. What's this? Oh fuck! Are you playing the Beatles?
What's your favorite? Oh, I don't know that this is my favorite, but can you get Blackbird available?
Right.
Let's do Blackbird. I love that McCartney. Paul McCartney singing it like
Blackbird singing alright. Blackbird singing in the dead of night. Take these little lines and learn to see all your life. You're only waiting for this moment to be free. Blackbird fly. Blackbird fly. Into the night, the dark black night. Yo, dog. Blackbird fly. Blackbird fly. The night in the dark black night. I'm gonna count 190,000. How many people are here? None. Not a one. Really? Yeah. Not even one. Not even singing in the dead of night. Take these broken wings and learn to fly. All life. You're only waiting for this moment to be right. We're only waiting for this moment to arrive. I'm only waiting for this moment to arrive. See here. This one and things.
it sounds good on the headphones. Hope you guys are enjoying this, and Twitter's not doing justice, but check it out. Check out the video, put it on your headphones, stream it, YouTube it, and
YouTube is shit, motherfucker. I'd be like, motherfucker, these are the people listening to a motherfucker.
got some new speakers, they beat it. Yes,
What the fuck is that?
everybody. I don't know if it was played already, and I love it.
Oh, this is a great one.
No, I don't think we played it. Okay. Hey, let's go. And I Love Her by the Beatles. That's another good one.
I love this. I love the Beatles. Beatles are fucking amazing. I love the Beatles. Really? I hear my love. That's all I do. And if you saw my love, you'd love her too. I love her. She gives me everything that can believe. A kiss my love brings, she brings to me. And I love her. The love I got would never die as long as I have you near me. Bright are the stars that shine, dark is the night. I know this love of mine will never die. I love her. Bright are the stars that shine, dark is the sky. I know this love of mine will never die. I love her.
That's a good choice. So, what would you like to hear, Rabbi?
Have you played Back in the USSR yet?
No, actually, I haven't. I wanted to start off with that. I have I played that in the intro. That's a good one. Check out the words on that. Want to do any pre-quoting for the song, Rabbi?
Oh, I love the Beatles. I want you to know how much I appreciate your spaces. I saw Beatles and I was like, oh, I am hooked. I'm in this bad boy for the rest of the night. I love the Beatles. So shout out to you and the room for knowing great music.
Let's go. Back in the USSR.
Flew into Miami Beach, UAC. Couldn't get to bed last night. Flew into Miami Beach, UAC. Couldn't get to bed last night. All the Miami factors on I gave. And I had a dreadful flight. I'm back in the USSR. You don't know how lucky you are, boy. Back in the USSR. Being around the world, having you the place. Here you can be back home. I'm back